How's it going, everybody? Where are we? Where are we? Are we in space? What is going on? Our hands are absolutely erasing. What is going on here? Well, we have returned from our trip. We're not in space. We're just home. We're just home. It was a wild trip. We had a plane cancellation that kept us in Louisiana even longer, which is great in one respect, but in another not so great with how it happened last second, all the madness. But you know, it was a fantastic trip. Fantastic trip. We were able to check out some LSU practices. We were able to hang out with some LSU players. We were able to talk to some LSU coaches, some LSU staff members. Um, you always come back from these trips going, hey, I wish this or this had happened. I wish we were able to take advantage of this thing or be able to really make that thing happen or really, just try and just deliver the best content possible. I feel like we did that. I just feel like, you always, someone like me, I'm always going to nitpick. I'm always going to, wonder if we could have done better. But considering we were traveling with an infant baby, I think we did a fantastic job. We're only a minute away. Our Airbnb at the corner of River Road and Oklahoma Street, staying at an undisclosed location, and it was incredible. Just to wake up every morning and just get in the car, awesome rental car, by the way, and just go flying down there, back road, River Road, for just a minute and a half, basically. Blasting Born on the Bayou, blasting some crazy AC/DC, everything rock and roll to keep myself in the mood, and just going right down the road to a practice. Access to a practice, a LSU practice, just crazy. I mean, for me, someone who lives across the country, you gotta understand these are things that I like live for all year. These are the moments I wait for all year. And so to be able to live the dream that I'm pursuing, even though we're just doing it with our own site, it's not like we have some big time person behind us or big time resources. We're doing this on a shoestring budget and just with us being us, and it's working somehow. And that's all you need, really, is just being you. And I think what we've been able to do is proven that. And anyone trying to do anything in their life and wondering why am I doing this? Is this worth pursuing? Ask yourself if you truly love what you're pursuing. And if you truly love what you're pursuing and can truly say that, then yes, never stop, because there's always going to be some type of payoff. Whether you just love to do it and you feel good doing it, or you actually make some type of, identifiable progress, whether that's financially, whether that's, whatever, creatively. And that's what we look for, is to try and just progress creatively, financially, progressively, just in every way possible. We're just trying to grow this thing. And so being able to come down to Louisiana and do it in the flesh, being able to come down to Baton Rouge, do it in the flesh with the people we love, people we enjoy to hang out with, nothing's better. Nothing's better, especially when I'm able to bring my family down there. That's the thing. Being able to bring your family down there, it just makes it times 100, because you're showing Chelsea the food. Last time we ate here, I cannot wait for you to try this or eat this. I mean, taking them to all these places, it was fantastic. The one thing we wished we could have pulled off but did not was taking Sage on Death Valley. There was a little miscommunication there that kind of made that not possible. Time ran out. It was really just a stab in the heart, really. But that is going to happen very soon, hopefully, and we're going to be going down there very soon as well. Don't know if Sage is going to come with us next time, but we're definitely going to be going down there, at least ourselves, to be covering LSU as they continue this off-season preparation as soon as we possibly can. Because that's the thing, is being able to wake up a minute from LSU, get in a car, drive down there. I just unbelievable. We could have walked there, no problem. No problem. Could have walked there, no problem. It was something we've been working for a long time to be able to do this, and being able, I just cannot thank Michael Bonnet enough. Cannot thank LSU Sports Info and LSU coaching staff, LSU, Brian Kelly as well, head coach Brian Kelly, LSU's players as well for indulging me in my madness, and Jordan Arsamon, someone we met down there again for the second time in a row. I love talking with that guy. Great, great man. Cannot wait to get him on the show. We're going to be pushing to try and get as many coaches, as many players, as many, Tigers connected to the program on this show for your viewing enjoyment. And, that's the thing is if you really like what we're doing here, follow us there at Lon Phillips on Twitter. Definitely follow us on our Facebook. That's just at LSU Odyssey. You can find us there easily, LSU Odyssey. But really, the best place to get our content, without question, where, here we kind of are a little more laid back, a little more casual about things. But if you want to get the best of what we do, this side and the really in-your-face information, the really in-your-face breaking news, cutting edge, everything, you've got to go to LSUODYSSEY.com. That's really the place. LSUODYSSEY.com. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to just throw money at us to get grade A info or grade A articles about LSU, grade A footage, grade A film as well. You can be following us on Twitter and get this footage, little pieces of this footage. But we always reward our subscribers with the big kahuna, and first and foremost because they're backing us. It's incredible that you guys are backing us and likely watching this right now. Thank you very much, everybody. And, Harold Hibbard, Louis Corona, Don Cannon, Nurse Court, Jamer, of course. We gotta represent Jamer, A Diesel. The list goes on. The list goes on and on. I mean, there's so many people. There's so many people who have helped us do this grade A work. And thank you very much, because without you, it's just not possible. It's just not possible for us to really push and be able to return to Louisiana as much as we have. That was the reason we were able to come back this time, because someone cared enough about what we were growing and what we were doing enough to say, hey, we're going to help you go to Louisiana again really quick. Boom, right after the Atlanta trip. And it's fantastic that we were able to go, because the practices we were able to see, there was a lot going on. And if you watch the film, we did not leave any stone unturned. There was so much that we caught because we were glued in on something, on a subject, defensive line, whatever it will be, watching it, checking it out with my eyes and the camera. But then once I see someone's reps are done, I'm looking over across what's going on. Where's the action? What's going on? Is this the action right here? Following the action, position by position, trying to get guys like Quincy Wiggins, get footage like Quincy Wiggins, Harold Perkins, countless freshman guys that you guys are looking for and asking about, transfers. We're trying to get all that type of footage. Whoa. Odell Beckham signed with the Ravens. Yep, we saw that. Yep. SMU fan videos with a comment. Odell Beckham Jr. signed with the Ravens. Yep. That's interesting to me. Will that move be good for Odell? Already a Super Bowl win, already caught a touchdown in a Super Bowl as well. Was pretty damn good in that NFC title game win for the Rams too. But I know the LSU fans don't want to hear a damn thing about the Rams. So I'm just Odell, great to move to the Ravens. Hope he does well there. No problem. Fantastic. But back to what we were going on about was really this trip to Baton Rouge. We were hoping to be able to really deliver the best grade A content to LSU fans. And it was interesting because I think when you get so close to a program, whether that's people, the footage we're able to get, people we talk to, whatever, coaches we talk to, when you're able to get so close, sometimes you get too close and For instance, we put up a piece of footage that from practice that we're showing a certain position group doing some drills, and we were asked by LSU to take it down, and so we had to take that down because it revealed something about LSU schematically or personnel wise that they did not want anyone to know. We figured out the puzzle. Took a little bit. We were like, why do they want us to take this down? And I thought it was something a rule I broke. It was actually, I was told, no, it's on us. It's not your bad. It's on us. Trust me. So it was kind of like, okay, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just filming, but what did I catch? But I was looking through it and I caught it, but don't want to lose my media credentials. I'm not going to reveal what that was. But anyway, we saw a lot of great stuff from these practices. What stuck out to me was how damn good this team's freshmen are, how ready this freshman class is. We didn't totally know that LSU's 2022 freshmen were going to be ready instantly. Mason Taylor, we figured he'd probably have to play a lot. Just being, the tight end position being so thin and him being more talented than Cole Taylor, without doubt. So we figured he'd probably play, but Harold Perkins, we knew how damn good he was, but it was like, will they unleash the beast? Will they actually let him play, let him develop, let him really go crazy in his debut season? It took a while, it took probably maybe even 4 or 5 games, maybe even half of the season for them to finally let him loose. I think it was the Florida game where they finally let him loose, and that kind of, if you recognize, that kind of changed the season for LSU, changed our trajectory last year. That big win on the road against Florida where our offense just went off. And our defense had a bad game except Harold Perkins. Jaquelin Roy had mammoth games and didn't really get any credit, but real LSU people who watch these games a few times over and stuff, it stuck out how good, how electric Harold was. But like some of these freshmen last year for LSU, the freshman electric four, Emory Jones, Will Campbell, we knew they would have to play due to necessity. Emory Jones was a little bit of a surprise and a little bit more late, I think like second game into the season. And due to injury and due to him playing just better than Cam Wire. But Will Campbell, he fortified his starting spot left tackle that spring in 2022. It was obvious this dude is going to start at left tackle week 1 as a freshman. So last year we had some electric freshmen for LSU deliver in huge moments. Mason Taylor, the touchdown catch against Alabama. The performances by Will Campbell, Emory Jones, and Harold Perkins throughout the entire season. Harold Perkins' brilliance against Arkansas. Even forcing a fumble off Stetson Bennett against Georgia. Like, he just, every game, whether win or lose, whether you didn't really pay attention or not, you turned the game off or not, Harold Perkins was delivering for LSU. Seeing him in the flesh in Atlanta was something unbelievable. I mean, just watching him have a hell of a game against Atlanta, against the Bulldogs, against Georgia, that was probably his best game of the season. Really, like, not just statistically, but just the talent level he was playing against and how good he was and how much he belonged out there. It was very interesting with him. But, when you compare these 2023 freshmen, we got more guys this season who could play this year than we did last year. We're far more equipped in 2023 to really have more freshman breakouts than just 4 guys than last year. I mean, when you're talking about Kyle Parker, Jaylen Brown, this is on offense. You got Zalance Hurd, who's going to be coming in June. Some of those guys, 3 of the 4 guys that I was talking about just ago, the freshman electric 4 from 2022, outside of Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Harold Perkins, Mason Taylor, they all came in June. They were all late arrivals. So, like, you got to realize that, like, there is a huge potential this season for these guys to kind of see that blueprint. LSU's coaches, LSU's, nutritional staff, LSU's strength and conditioning staff to recognize that was how we had success with those freshmen. That was how we had success with LSU's instant debutante greatness from some of these guys. This is how we can repeat that. And you've got far more talent in this freshman 2023 class, I think, than the 2022. Even though there's some strong guys that were in that class, but like guys like have left, like Walker Howard, he's already gone. 5-star from that class. So that class still had some strong pieces, but they've kind of left. The linebacker as well. God, name escapes me. I met this kid, awesome kid. Why is his name escaping me right now while I'm on the spot? Oh God, I'm gonna look that up right now. That linebacker who left. God, from Dr. Phillips. Mario Tolan. My God, I knew it started with a D. God, Mario Tolan, for God's sake. So LSU lost some pieces in that 2022 class. But for 2023, I really like this class. The receiving core alone, Shelton Sampson Jr. isn't even on there yet. Jalen Brown picked up a little bit of a hamstring injury, just barely, but he should be okay. Kyle Parker as well. You got 3 dudes right there who are just freakish. Kai Preen can also be pretty damn good there. So you got 4 freshman receivers that we're really interested to be looking at. Linebacker Whit Weeks. Could he echo what Harold Perkins did in his first season? Perhaps. We'll see. There's been a lot of talk about how good he's looked. But the secondary is where I really like what I'm seeing from the freshman. Ryan Yates is extremely versatile, can play all 4 spots back there. Javian Toviano, from all his teammates, from coaches, everyone I talk to is just like, this dude not only fits the billing of a 5-star, he is like superseded what we've expected and wanted. Same thing can be said about Jalen Brown. We can even throw Aaron Anderson, who did have 1 season at Alabama, but redshirt obviously because he didn't even play. I had like 0 targets that season. Aaron Anderson, we can even throw him in this discussion as freshman. I mean, he's not even on campus yet either. So there are exciting pieces all over this team, but they're unknown quantities. Deuce Chestnut, I was able to meet him. That was fantastic. Great dude. We haven't seen him yet due to injury, but we should soon. J.K. Johnson. Do we know what we'll get from the former Ohio State Buckeye? But someone who really has a long history, knows Robert Steeples, his cornerbacks coach. So, there's things that are in favor for him there. Something that was also great that helped Mekhi Wingo last year become an All-American. His prior relationship with Coach Robert Steeples, the cornerbacks coach, who, even though, yes, Wingo, defensive lineman, not being coached by Robert Steeples, cornerbacks coach, still being coached because he's a coach on the staff, especially defensively. And that those type of relationships are always going to be there in the locker room before a game. And especially when you've won a state championship at that level, being one of the number 1 teams in the country that year, DeSmet, National Coach of the Year, Robert Steeples, of course, that's ingrained, that's been there. All of those guys have been through. They'd won. They know how to win together. So that's really interesting. Mac Markway also coming into the team. We were able to meet Mac Markway, and another player from DeSmet, another Missouri dude, another tight end for LSU. He's saying that Mason Taylor's taking him under his wing a bit, but you can tell that he wants to be his own player, and you can tell that we have read some criticism from him from some of the big time writers, some of the guys covering LSU saying, dismissing Mac Markway, saying he's not going to be good. He's only a blocker. He's just not really that good of a tight end prospect. I don't know where that's coming from. I understand that he's had some injuries. I understand that we didn't. We really have little tape on him. Really, I mean, I get there's tape on him, but there really is not that much tape on him. But here's the thing: he comes from a football family. He kind of knows what this is going to take. And Brian Kelly is someone who's going to play him early. Same thing with Mike Denbach. They're going to play this kid early. And I think he's going to deliver. I think he's tough as nails, and I think we're going to see what he's made of here in this first 2 years of his LSU Tigers career. But I'd back him to succeed. I don't see really anything mentally, physically that's like going to tell me that he's not going to fulfill at least 3/4 of what Brian Kelly is saying he's going to. Markway will be able to do. So I impressed with him physically, meeting him. It was fantastic to hang out with him for a bit. Impressed physically with Jackson Howard. I mean, what a great young man. And he's going to absolutely kill quarterbacks. He's going to absolutely murder quarterbacks this fall. I mean, like, he's an absolute assassin along the defensive line. He has the body. He belongs. I saw his hair before I saw him. And he just, wearing that number 11, I really have a lot of expectation for him. I think this is the perfect defensive setup for him. I think there's a little bit of a hole there of like, Savion Jones, we know, is probably going to be a starter at defensive end or the jack this season. But as for the other position, there's kind of a wonder of a few guys who could be playing there, a few guys who might not be. We're kind of wondering who's going to be the guys that's going to stand out there. Quincy Wiggins, they're probably going to be using him on the inside 3 more likely than because that's what I'm seeing positionally. But so that leaves me to believe that Jackson Howard has a good chance. Maybe Jordan Jefferson, maybe Ovi Ogufu. But still, Jackson Howard has a fantastic chance to be that other Jack. That's very interesting to me to see a freshman, multiple freshmen potentially starting for this defense on the defensive line, at linebacker with Will Weeks, and then multiple guys in the secondary as well. So the freshman class really stuck out to me big time. Jeremiah Hughes as well we can throw in there at corner because you got 2 guys, Jalen Toviano and Jeremiah Hughes, who are both physically adept. And, I mean, Jeremiah Hughes had 7 interceptions this last season, 7 picks this last season at Bishop Gorman. I mean, that's outrageous. 7 interceptions. And he's also, the thing that I love about Jeremiah Hughes is he's a very skilled tackler in space, and he's a proven tackler on the outside, which is really the toughest place to tackle. You're always one-on-one, tons of space behind you. You've got to make the play, or the guy's likely gone, or at least 60, 70 yards before the safety gets him, maybe 30, 40, whatever. But it's going to be a big play if you don't make the tackle. And a lot of times we've seen Hughes shed these brilliant blocks that got him off balance. He'll just get the guy off him. He knows how to use the momentum and the athleticism against these players. Sometimes it's very interesting. Just fights. He's a fighter. He fights for that ball in the air as well. 7 picks last season for Bishop Gorman as they won yet another state title. Yet another freshman that, if Deuce Chestnut and maybe another veteran are starting at corner, like Denver Harris or, the new guy, and then Deuce Chestnut are the corner tandem. If we get in a couple injuries, one injury, Toviano, Hughes are right there in the conversation. But another thing that really stuck out to me was there's a few guys that we haven't really been talking about some of these guys too much this offseason. But Sage Ryan, Chris Hilton, um, Brian Thomas Jr., um, hmm, Garrett Dellinger. There's some guys that I really think are going to have strong seasons at LSU this season. Especially if our offense actually expands into a good, strong passing attack, then we'll see. I mean, that's the thing. The quarterbacks, what we saw at quarterback, Nussmeier throwing the ball better than ever, just got off of surgery, and we know there's no quarterback competition here. We know that Jaden Daniels has the job until he's hurt, or until Brian Kelly takes it from him. So, what does Nussmeier really have to like? What's his motivation every day in practice? What's his motivation to stay at LSU? Well, he's showing it every day that he just loves the Tigers. He wants to be the quarterback of this team. He wants to lead. He wants to win a championship at LSU, and he plays his ass and practices his ass off. And you cannot help but respect and admire that about Garrett Nussmeier, whether you like him or not. And I'm not talking about he needs to start over Jaden Daniels. I'm pounding my fist on the table or anything like that. I'm simply saying what I love to see from Garrett Nussmeier is something that, I mean, if he transfers, there's going to be a long list of top programs just waiting for this kid. And number one's going to be Nick Saban, who, hired his daddy just, what was it, 8-9 years ago to be on his staff. So, he will have no shortage of suitors if he were to transfer from LSU, and it would be a disaster if he were to transfer from LSU after May, leaving us with just Jaden Daniels, Ricky Collins, the true freshman, and then George Hemsley. And of course, Matt O'Dowd, the practice squad quarterback. That's putting us in a terrible position. Basically, if our starter, who could be an All-American quarterback this season if he just trusts his receivers, and if our offense can actually throw the football, sustain a rhythm in the passing attack, he will be an All-American quarterback because of what he can do with his legs already, what we know. And we know he can throw the football. So if he can just pass the ball, he will be an All-American quarterback, and he will lead LSU to SEC title games, college football playoff matchups against, the other three best squads in the country. That is what LSU can do this season if Jaden Daniels can uncork this football to these playmakers at receiver. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Chris Hilton Jr., as we mentioned both of them before, but Aaron Anderson, who we haven't even seen yet for LSU, is just such a weapon out there. Kyron Lacey has shown some progress this season, making some brilliant catches out there. Love what we see from Kyron Lacey. There's a lot of depth for LSU receiver when you also go then with all the freshmen. Jaylen Brown has been brilliant. Kyle Parker has looked special. He shows a lot of brilliant traits to me. Nice, crisp route running, deceptive route running. But he's just really smooth in all aspects of the game. Jaylen Brown, for me, it's about the speed and the big plays that really are what sets him apart and makes him just such a dynamic potential piece for this offense. It's very interesting because I think LSU have been called a thin squad this offseason, and maybe we are thin in some spots, but it's really more thin because of the names that have left. We don't have some of the names. We've lost the Ojulari, the Booties, even Baskerville, how dependable he was. 3 seasons of 70 plus tackles. He was very, very, very dependable for LSU. We lost some of these guys who had such long histories with us. Jaquelin Roy as well. You can throw him in there too. He should be a first round pick alongside Ojulari. Just there's a lot of guys who are Jay Ward as well, who are leaving this program who clocked a lot of miles, especially on defense. and we're wondering, where's this team going to go? What's this team going to identity of this team going to be? I think there is a lot of uncertainty roster wise, but I don't think you need to worry because I think the iron out there is going to sharpen the iron. I think LSU, yes, we could contend for some championships this season. We could contend for the SEC. We could contend for the college football playoff. But LSU could also have a regression this season. We could lose, 4 plus games again this year. And not make, the SEC title game, not be able to beat Alabama. It's all up to the passing game on this offense, really, for me. And we already know this team can run the football. As beaten up as the running back room is right now, when we get Trey Holly up to speed, continuing to show great he looks like a really fantastic asset out there for LSU. He looks like another kind of Clyde Edwards or Allaire profile. Low to the ground, speedy, potential versatility in the passing game as well, and a really good blocker actually at Union Parish in the backfield, even though they rarely threw the football, but pretty good pass protector. It's just really been him and Noah Kane, but I really think the running back room showcased what they can do. Hopefully, we can get John Emery Jr. back, and Josh Williams, Armani Goodwin, day to day with their injuries. Hopefully, we can get those guys back. But then we also have Caleb Jackson coming in June. That's a dude who could be an absolute thoroughbred for LSU in 2023 and beyond, of course. I love his profile, love what I see from Caleb Jackson as a freshman. He's another one who could be an absolute beast for LSU in year one. So there's just the running back room, I think, is fine. Even though there's some injuries and there's some questions, it's spring. Noah Kane himself had 10 touchdowns. We had like 4 different guys who had 5+ touchdowns. Like, those guys didn't put up a ton of yards, but it was because we had so many different guys running the ball, led by the quarterback who ran more than anybody. I think it was like 88 carries by Daniels last year. So if we cut maybe 30% of those carries and turn them into big passing plays, some of these games where we had to come back, some of these games where we also cut out the special teams errors, if we can cut the special teams errors in half, add 30% more dynamic passing plays to the offense, the sky is the limit because we know we have the defensive structure. We know we have the defensive structure behind Matt House to rebound, to adjust from big plays, from deficits, from early deficits too, from big blows defensively, from losing big players to injuries, like Mason Smith in week 1. And somehow that defense just ground and fought, even though they gave up so many big plays. Even though that defense was almost looking like it was going to be a bad defense. There's people questioning Matt House's hire during that game, saying why Brian Kelly's such a dumbass for hiring Matt House. Oh my God, what did he do hiring Matt House? A linebackers coach as a defensive coordinator. What a joke. And then you saw how that defense never. They allowed Florida State barely anything in the red zone. And Jordan Travis had a field day on LSU on 3rd down, but they couldn't do a damn thing on us in the red zone. That's the type of balls that defense has under Matt House, especially. And there's a lot of young guys on the defense who also are veterans of this team from last year who saw that firsthand, and they know how it's done. So I have no problem with this defense being fine this season. It's got to always be the special teams. It can't get much worse than it was last year. So I think John Jancek's gonna do a fine job there. As long as the special teams can just hold serve, and then as long as Jaden Daniels can uncork the football to the receivers, let his playmakers actually make plays, and then let your feet win those games as well. Just be yourself, but also let the receivers be themselves too. I think LSU can be a fantastic team, a team that can beat everyone on the schedule, really, at their best. At their worst, coupled with injuries, coupled with poor decisions by the coaching staff and the players, this team could be, an 8-win team. So it's something that really this team could even regress, or it could contend for everything out there. It's just got to follow the path. Right there, baby. Follow the path. Until next time, everybody, we had a fantastic time in Louisiana. We're going to be back there very soon, and you're going to be seeing more and more and more and more and more content from our trip. It's going to keep on coming and keep on coming because there was a lot that went down. Shh. It's a secret. Shh. Don't tell every LSU fan out there. Shh. LSUODYSSEY.COM.